right, let's hit the field.
All right.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
Today is Sunday, July 28th, and the Yankees and Red Sox were finishing off a 3-game set. First game for Jazz Chisholm as a New York Yankee. Plus, we got some other trade wins whipping up. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium,
New York City.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back, kid.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Less than 2 days until the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Yankees are definitely going to be active, and they just completed a series win over the Boston Red Sox. We'll talk about all of that, but first, welcome back to my co-host from another coast, Terrence Kem. I hear you have some friends in Greece that are watching this right now.
That's right. Quick shout out to my friends in Mykonos. My parents are there too. Denis, Manon, Ombre, they're all watching over there. So we got some viewers from literally on the other side of the globe because I'm in California. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool, man. We get calls from, voicemails from Australia, from Spain. It's really cool. But another pretty good game for the Yankees. Offense appears to have woken up. We are now 2-0 in the Jazz Chisholm era. 1-0 with him in the lineup. He was 1 for 5 tonight. We'll talk about that. Good nights for Alex Verdugo, for Austin Wells, for Carlos Rodon, for Oswaldo Cabrera. So Yankees bats finally waking up. Big 2-run double for Cabrera. And now the Yankees have won 2 games in a row. Orioles won, so they maintain the advantage in the East. But, dude, has this been a crazy baseball season or what?
Oh my God, yeah! Like it's making me have some great. I'm finding gray hairs in the mirror when I get out of the shower, man. And
Not all me.
It's all the Yankees' fault. It's all their fault. But like, am I really surprised? Last couple of Yankee seasons, they get off to these historic starts, and right around the All-Star break, the wheels start to come off, and then they make some moves at the deadline. Last season, they didn't do anything because that was really bad, but. They make some moves at the deadline. They kind of salvage the season a little bit, make the playoffs, and then they lose in the ALCS. So I'm really, fingers crossed, that that's not the script for this season, but we'll see.
We'll see. I see you're rocking some Yankees gear. What you got today?
Yeah, I just got this is like the batting practice pullover. It's got like the hood,
Oh, that's dope. I like that. You don't need that in California. You don't need any hoodies in California, man.
Honestly, it's very thin, though, and it does cool off at night. I saw Deadpool in it last night, too, so
nice.
It was nice.
Nice. Yeah. So it's got that movie theater popcorn smell?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's nice. I saw it yesterday. We can talk about it later if you want, but I thought it was all right. It was decent. But let's first talk about Carlos Rodon because he was more than all right today. He was really, really sharp. He got handed a 3-0 lead. I felt like that took some of the pressure off of him. He was really good for the first few innings, served up back-to-back solo home runs to Ref Snyder and Connor Wong in the fourth. But I thought he settled down nicely. Second straight solid outing from him. I just saw someone say, back from the dead. What do you think? Back from the dead? I mean, he topped out at 98.5. He had 25 swings and misses. What are your thoughts on Rodon, man?
With him, just keep stacking starts. I think David Cohn says that a lot. Keep stacking good starts. The slider looked really sharp tonight. He had a couple filthy sliders. There was one specifically, one of them to Devers, low and away, and then there was a pitch that he threw low and in. I forget to who to end the inning, and that was both really nice pitches there. But yeah, slider looked good. The velo's there. I'm happy to see that the velo's there with him because last season that was a concern. He was battling some injuries, so it means he's healthy, and he's one of those guys like we've talked about. The further he gets into games, the looser he gets. The sweatier he is, the harder he throws. He's like Chapman when he's just like a sweaty mess out there. Unfortunately, those jerseys, though, turn into like dark gray when that happens. But hey, whatever. That's a Fanatics problem.
I bet you he smells terrible. I just feel like he sweats an unbelievable amount. Like the reporters that are interviewing him after the game, they've got to be suffering because he looks like he stinks. But pretty nice start from Carlos Rodon. Let's talk about Jazz Chisholm, who made his debut tonight. He was wearing number 13. He was 1 for 5. If you missed the game, wearing A-Rod's number. We talked a little bit about that. Some people are upset about it, but Joey Gallo also wore that number.
I was going to say that's Joey Gallo's number. But guys, the number's not getting retired. Get over it. It'll never be retired. I feel like Alex Rodriguez is evidently one of the greatest players to ever live. There's steroids involved. That's a whole other conversation. But the guy sued the team. As soon as he sued the Yankees, I feel like that just kind of ended it right there for any chance of getting his number retired. You can argue whether he deserves it or not, but right now it's not. It's not in Monument Park. I really don't think it ever will be in Monument Park. And if that's the case, then give the number out. We don't have enough numbers as it is.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about him. He got to the ballpark around 90 minutes before the game and was still rocking his Marlins cleats, his Marlins belt, batting gloves. I expect him to have some new stuff by the time he's rocking pinstripes for the first time. I think I saw some of those Photoshops. I think he's going to look really good in pinstripes. Like, he seems like he would rock pinstripes really well. He struck out in his first at bat with 2 runners in scoring position, and I'm just like, smacking my hand on my bald ass head. But missed opportunity to win over the fans right away. Gleyber Torres picked him up with a 2-run single. Didn't have too much that was difficult in center field. He did have a base hit late in the game. He kind of took an elbow to the face and almost got KO'd, but stayed in there, stole third base, scored on a sac fly. So what did you think? You called this trade back in May. What did you think of the trade, and what do you think of Jazz Chisholm overall?
First of all, I love the move for a number of reasons. I don't think what we gave up is really, and look, time will tell what we gave up if it was really something or not. I don't think it was. Prospects, it's always like a kind of a lottery thing, but the move is good for a couple of reasons. First of all, we have him for 2 more years of control after this, which is a little bit of insurance if Soto walks out the door, because you could put him back and out in the outfield. Now, I'm somebody who really thinks that Gleyber Torres definitely should be on the block, because Jazz slots in perfectly there at second, especially if you're planning on holding on to Soto, which I feel like they have every intention of doing so. So you put him there at second and you kind of open up that outfield spot. But it's a good move just because of the 2 years of control. He's not making a ton of money. He's a lefty bat. He's got great speed, athleticism. I've talked about that before. The direction the game is heading right now is that. It's speed and athleticism, and that's something this team severely lacked, severely needed. So that gives a little bit more dynamic, I think, to the Yankees.
I feel like he's got good bat speed, but I don't really like his swing. I think his swing kind of sucks. I think that they can definitely make some tweaks. Like, it's kind of long. He gets away from his body a little bit, but he's got lightning fast hands. When I was talking about the trade yesterday, I mentioned a comparison to Didi Gregorius. To me, Didi had the same problem when he came with the Yankees, and they just made a couple of tweaks. So I think there's potential, like, 25 plus home run power there, and he's obviously got the speed. We saw it tonight. He's going to be a nuisance on the bases, right? I mean, imagine him dancing around on the bases while you got Juan Soto or Aaron Judge up. You know, I like him hitting at the bottom of the order so that could happen. Maybe he could, roll over the order. But anyway, we had a couple of super chats here. Before we get to the trade deadline talk, first of all, what do you think the lineup's going to be tomorrow? Because we got Giancarlo Stanton coming back. He obviously fills up the DH spot. That's going to put Judge back out into center field. So it might be one of those situations where Jazz plays center field in his debut and then he's somewhere else, tomorrow. Third base is an option, but Oswaldo Cabrera has been knocking the cover off the ball the last few days. He had a big 2-run double tonight. Gleyber Torres is at second base. He's been heating up offensively. He just booted another error, but, somebody is going to be forced, despite being hot, to the bench for Jazz Chisholm. What are your thoughts on the lineup tomorrow?
Well, it's trade deadline season, so something could happen. Gleyber could be dealt in literally 1 hour, and then it's not a problem anymore. So, but let's just assume that everybody is on the team as they are right now, just for the sake of argument, right? I think they're probably going to put Jazz at third, just kind of guessing. I think that's the direction they'll go in. They'll probably put DJ at first, I think. Gleyber will play second, Volpe at short, obviously, and then they'll stick Judge in center, Soto in right. Stanton will be DHing. I don't want to put Stanton in the outfield, obviously. Like, people might be like, oh, you can put him in left because, like, Fenway is, like, super shallow in left with the monster. I don't want to do that. The guy's hamstring already almost exploded. He just got back. So take it easy with him. So, yeah, DH for Stanton, definitely. Judge center, Soto right, and I put Jazz at third, DJ at first. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards if they don't make a deal. If Gleyber's gone tonight for whatever, a reliever, let's just say, then Jazz is at second and it kind of fixes itself, but that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, Alex says Gleyber gets traded, Jazz at second. I could see that happening. I could see somebody picking up Gleyber because there's a lot of teams out there that need a bat, and he's shown over the last couple of weeks that he's starting to hit. Yankees aren't going to re-sign him, so why not take advantage of that value, right? Why not? And we'll talk about that in just a second, but I think there's a deal to be made out there where you can get an arm for Gleyber Torres.
Well, definitely. A couple things. Acquiring Jazz spells the end for Gleyber just because, in terms
100%.
of re-signing him, because if he's gone, Jazz is playing second, just right there. I'm sorry, it kind of spells the end for maybe Peraza as well. I know he has absolutely no value. They totally killed his value, but you got to move him. So with Gleyber, yeah, you traded Joey Gallo and you got Clayton Beater back. You can definitely get something for Gleyber Torres. Now, who are the suitors for Gleyber Torres? That's really tough to say. If you're the Yankees, you'd really want to try to trade him to like the National League or a team that you're not going to see him a lot, like the Milwaukee Brewers or somebody like that. I just don't know. And Derek, maybe you have some ideas on this. I don't know who would really be a suitor for him. Who needs a second base DH bat?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of teams looking for offense that are willing to kind of, maneuver around. The Cubs need a bat. The Mariners need a bat. I could see the Dodgers picking him up. I mean, like just as like an extra bat, like because they're always rotating guys out. Max Muncy's been hurt. They've got you could fill him in a little bit at third base, possibly even try and stretch out his versatility. I don't know. Atlanta's got Ozzie Albies out. They picked up Whit Merrifield, but he had just gotten DFA'd, right? So could he go to the Braves? So we'll see. But let's talk a little bit about trades because
I want Matt Olson in return.
Yeah. It is trade deadline season. We are less than 48 hours away. So I want to talk about trades from an alternate perspective. Not who they're going to pick up. We've talked ad nauseum about who the Yankees could trade for. But I want to talk about some players that could be involved in what I call baseball trades, where another team is looking to pick somebody up, and the Yankees have a few pieces. So there's 4 guys that I want to talk about. We're going to start with Verdugo, then we're going to talk about Nestor Cortes, Gleyber Torres, and Clay Holmes. So let's start with Verdugo, 238 hitter this year. He got off to a great start. He's been great defensively overall. He had that one play in Baltimore that just kills me. I played it on repeat in my head like every day. But, he's begun to heat back up. He had a couple of doubles tonight. He is now 670 OPS, which is not great. It's below average. But you got Dominguez in the minor leagues coming back soon. If you want to play Jazz in center, you can put Judge in left and save his wheels a little bit. I think there's a deal to be made for Verdugo. What are your thoughts on Alex Verdugo?
Yeah, it's really interesting. At the beginning of the season, it's funny, when we got him, I was like, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. So he was one of those guys where, like, if we were out of it, definitely deal him, right? And it was an easy contract to move. But with him, I saw this funny tweet. Somebody was like, Verdugo saw Jason hitting in the minor leagues and decided to be good again because of that. Yeah. Like he's got kind of got the fire lit up a little underneath him, right? So, but the Jazz move, just because Jazz can play outfield, and if you can play center, you can play any outfield position. Let's just be clear about that. So he can slide into left field at Yankee Stadium. So just because of that move, he is definitely tradable now. It's not like there is a need for Verdugo, especially since Jazz is also a lefty. And that would open a spot for the Martian if you want to go in that direction. So I'm really not opposed to it for the right price. If you're going to trade an Alex Verdugo and get, I don't know why the Marlins would do this, like a Tanner Scott back, you would have to add stuff to that deal. But I'm just speaking out of school here.
It doesn't open the door for the Martian if you're playing him in the outfield. You have to play him at second base to open the door for the Martian because,
No, I'm saying if you put Jazz at second and you trade Verdugo, that opens the outfield spot.
Okay. I thought you were saying play Jazz out there and left, which he can. Yeah.
So, like if you're going to move Verdugo, you put Jazz at second and you're moving Gleyber. There's a lot of moving parts to this, but Gleyber would have to be dealt. Verdugo would have to be dealt maybe in a package together, which is weird because those are both expiring contracts. Put Jazz at second, put Jason in center there, and maybe you want to maneuver it that way. But if you want to move a Verdugo and a Torres for some relief arms because they need it, then I'm not opposed to it just because Jason is right there and Jazz could play infield or outfield. So it has a little versatility. The roster is flexible now with that move.
So Nestor Cortes, he started off okay. Actually started off bad, but then he pitched okay for a while. He looked like he's out of gas to me, but then again, so did Luis Heel a few weeks ago. So it might just be a mid-season funk, but he is over his innings, what we thought he would throw. what are your thoughts on trading Nestor Cortez? I would have no issue with somebody like Yoendris Gomez filling in for Nestor Cortez for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever it is until Clark Schmidt is back, especially now that you got Garrett Cole back in the rotation too.
Yeah.
So I'd have no issue with that. You think the Yankees could move Cortez?
Again, depends on what you're getting back for him. You think how far away is Poteet? Do you know?
He's coming back. I know he's rehabbing. I know somebody had a setback, but I don't know if it was him or not. I don't think it was him. So he could be back anytime. Yeah, I have no problem. I like what I've seen from Poteet.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess you could kind of do what the Mets did with Buto, where they put him out in the bullpen, and he's been lights out there. So maybe you want to put Nestor in the bullpen. Would that be something you want to mull over there rather than trading him?
I don't hate it, but I don't think they would do that right now. I mean, I don't
think they would do it. This is an idea.
Yeah. I mean, maybe when Schmidt comes back, you move him to the bullpen, and that solves one of your left-handed reliever problems, and it keeps him kind of fresh, give him a chance to rest. Yeah. It seems like most years he goes on the IL with some kind of like a groin issue that would normally take 6 weeks, but he's magically back in 2 weeks because it's a phantom trip. So we got a great comment here from CM. He says, why can't Glaber or Verdugo be a sub/pinch hitter? Wouldn't they be better options than Jahmai Jones? These are guys who used to playing every day. I don't think so. And Jahmai Jones is an infielder, so Verdugo can't play the infield, obviously. Glaber's been playing every day, so I don't see him moving to the bench. So appreciate the super chat, but I don't think so. Let's talk about Gleyber Torres, though. He's beginning to heat up after a very bad first 3 months. We just talked about some possible landing spots. Would you keep him or would you dump him?
I've been very vocal about this, and especially with Jazz, it changes everything. Move him now. You're not going to re-sign him. You have Jazz for 2 more years. Jazz can play second base. Jazz is actually I heard you were interviewing what was it, Scott off of Foul
Braun.
Territory? Yeah. And he was saying how Jazz is a better second baseman than he is an outfielder defensively. So honestly, what's the point if you're not re-signing Gleyber? Jazz is going to be your second baseman probably for the next 2 years. That's the direction I would go in because you're trying to sign Soto back. You got Jones and Jason coming through the minor leagues. So what's the point of holding on to Gleyber? If you can get an arm for him, yeah, definitely move him. I'm fully in the move on from Gleyber Torres boat. I know that he's heating up, but that's even better for his trade value because I know Cashman can call up a GM and just be like, listen, like look at his history. He goes on these tears right around August, honestly, where he hits like 400. And he's starting to heat up a little bit. I mean, maybe that squeezes a little bit of value out of something where maybe his like the super deep analytic metrics are showing other teams something. But I don't know. What do you think, Derek?
I think I agree with Kurt Ruppel. Trade Glauber. I love that. I love that. Clay Holmes, another guy that I think the Yankees should at least talk to other teams about because if he's not going to be your closer, I mean, he can fill in nicely, I think, as a setup man. I still don't want him as a closer, and I don't think he will be the closer on Wednesday. The question is, do you want to keep him in the 7th inning spot, or do you want to try and flip him for some value before he becomes a free agent? Because they're not going to re-sign him either. So, Clay Holmes, keep him or dump him? All-star Clay Holmes.
I think hold on to him just because bullpen arms are such a need for the team right now. And also the bullpen market looks really expensive right now. I think acquiring arms is going to be tough at this deadline. So I think probably hold on to him, but yeah, definitely move him out of the closer role. He's definitely, I've talked to a few people about this, but he's definitely always been more of a 7th, 8th inning guy to me just because he's a ground ball pitcher. I don't like having ground ball pitchers as my closer. I want my closer to come in and just throw straight flames. Like, I don't want you to be able to see the ball. So, yes, he throws very hard, but because he throws the sinker all the time, it's like guys are jamming that ball into the ground. And yeah, I'd rather 7th or 8th. But for a closer, I don't really know who's out there because Mason Miller's not getting traded. That would have cost a ton too. And I was here at the very beginning of the season saying, Emmanuel Clase, please. And then Cleveland decided to be good, so they're not moving him. So I don't really know what closer is really on the market to be moved.
Tanner Scott and Pete Fairbanks are really the only ones that I can see right now. There are some relievers with the Guardians, and they need a bat. So, I mean, maybe you can work something out where you exchange like an arm for a bat. Yeah, so that could be something. Yeah, that could be something that we see. All right, we got over 1,000 in the chat now. Reminder to like and subscribe. We're going to get to the recap.
All right, let's go. Let's get it going.
Hell of a game, once again. Second straight day that the Yankees put up 3 runs in the first inning. Leadoff double by Alex Verdugo. He's beginning to heat up. He came around to score on an excuse me single by Aaron Judge. RBI number 96 on the season. All right. Austin Wells also hooked a ground rule double into the right field corner, and then Jazz Chisholm struck out. But Gleyber Torres got 2 runs in with a base hit. So obviously coming up in a big spot. Was that his final hit as a Yankee?
Maybe.
It might be. It really could be. Austin Wells picked up another base hit in the top of the 4th. He's been really impressive for the past several weeks. I'm going to be talking about him tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Aiden when we do the StatCast show. We're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about Garrett Cole. We're going to talk about Jazz Chisholm, and we're going to talk about actually, we're going to take some voicemail. So tune in for that tomorrow, 10 a.m. But another multi-hit game for Wells. The average is over 240 now. OPS is 760-ish. What is it? It is 758. So that's solid. I think he's on the precipice of becoming a very, very dangerous hitter. Do you think he's the new starting catcher?
Yes, I do think he's the new starting catcher. Look, like we've seen with other young guys, like a Volpe, they need reps. They need at-bats. And the more reps, the more at-bats that he's going to get, the better he's going to get. And that's evident. He struggled at the beginning of the year. He's starting to kind of come into his own. I've been really impressed with his defense, honestly, because he's always been considered more of a bat-first catcher. And his defense has been really impressive. He calls a good game. He's got a better arm than Trevino does. So I'm very excited to see him as pretty much our everyday catcher for the next few years. Catcher is a weird position where you can be the starter, but that only means you play like 75% of the games because it's a position that beats you up. So it's really nice to have a really good backup catcher. So having somebody like Trevino in the more backup role, and I see it more as like a tandem sort of situation where it's like 60-40, 70-30. It's really not that stark. But I definitely think I give more of the at-bats to Wells. And I don't want to see any of this. We're facing a lefty, so Wells is sitting. Stop. All right. Just stop it. If he's got the numbers, if he's got the analytics, that's the one thing about Boone. And I've seen a lot of people be complaining about Aaron Boone this season. They need to let go of him. This is not Aaron Boone's fault. The slump that they've been in is not Aaron Boone's fault. The last, 30 games, 40 games that they've been not playing super well, that is much more of a roster construction issue. So that's much more of a front office issue. Do I think Aaron Boone is a little obsessed about the lefty-righty matchups? Yes.
But stop. Yes, way too obsessed.
But stop with the Wells is not playing because we're facing a lefty. But you got to give the guy some slack. What is he supposed to do? You see where I'm coming from, Derek?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Look, I'm in favor of starting Austin Wells as much as you can possibly start him. But he's such a good bat that I think eventually he might have to move off the position. I mean, here's something I've been thinking about, and tell me if this is crazy, and we're going to talk about Ben Rice in a second. If you can play first base, you can play third base, right? What if Ben Rice, over the offseason, learns how to play third base, and then Wells can shift to first base?
That's really wild, man. I don't know. I feel like outfield is an easier position to learn,
Maybe.
But the outfield's getting crowded.
And you got Trevino. You got
it's creative.
I guess they traded.
It's creative. I'll give you that.
They traded Augustine Ramirez. Hey, look, they have some options. They got some good young left-handed bats. That's all I'm happy about right now. Wells also had a sac fly in the game. Rodon gave up back-to-back home runs, followed by a triple in the 4th, but he settled down, stranded the runner at third base. I thought he tightened up. He was done after 6 in the 3rd innings. 5 hits, allowed 2 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Very nice outing. Nice job by Jake Cousins. He came in, got a couple of very big outs. He went 1 in the 3rd innings, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. So nice job for him. He almost got the belt. We considered him.
Honorable mention.
Ben Rice doubled in the top of the 8th inning. Been slumping, but what are your thoughts on Ben Rice? I mean, other than, that you probably don't want him as a third baseman like I suggested.
Dude, honestly, who knows? Maybe he can play third base. But with him, he's shown me enough to keep giving him opportunities. where I know he's been slumping. I realize that, but I've seen enough from him where I still want to see. I'm still unsure. Thank God we DFA'd JD Davis today.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when we first picked him up, I was like, why are we? I wasn't mad at the move because it was a nothing move, and I was like, all right, maybe they'll stick him in AAA as like depth or something like that. But when they picked him up, I was like, why are you taking at bats away from Ben Rice? Like, you don't know what Ben Rice is. I want to know what Ben Rice is. So I still don't know what he is. So I'm willing to extend the rope, if you will. He's got more leash.
I am very happy that we finally get to play this animation for JD Davis, who was only with us for a short time, but it was a disaster. DFA'd.
You're fired.
Send him to the sun.
DFA'd. Somebody said my sound effects and my animations were lame, but I like them. I have fun with it. That's all that's important to me.
That's just a hater, man. I love the animation.
Hater's gonna hate. Yeah. I love it. I don't do them every single episode, but I like to mix them up and it gives people a laugh once in a while. And this is a show for all ages, right? So sometimes we'll go on an F-bomb rant, and sometimes we'll have some fun, like stuff to draw in the younger viewers. So it's all calculated. But anyway, Gleyber Torres booted a routine ground ball in the top of the ninth, 13th error of the season, possibly his final error as a Yankee.
I just want to say that I think Jazz makes that play at second.
Yeah, I think so too. Big double from Oswaldo Cabrera. We've mentioned it a few times tonight, but I felt like that broke the back of the Red Sox tonight, that ground rule double, because they were still kind of threatening a little bit. And once he got that, and it went from 5-2 to 7-2. That was it. It was over with. So. Yankees hang on to win, and they take the series.
Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
I was just going to bring that up, that comment you got up on the board.
You're a winner.
Helsley? That's an interesting name.
Ryan Helsley. So I haven't looked to see what the Cardinals are doing, but I can't imagine them selling, because they typically are right in it.
Terrible.
So they're 54-51. They're 6 games out. I don't see them selling Ryan Helsley. He's got good stuff. I like Ryan Helsley. He's been on foul territory a few times, and I really like him. But who's your belt pick tonight?
Well, I think we got to go with somebody who really battled tonight. Showed a lot of pride, heart. Mr. Carlos Rodon.
All right. And he surprisingly has a lot of belts. We'll go over the belt leaderboard in just a second, but 2 really good outings in a row from Carlos Rodon. The 25 swings and misses tonight was incredible. That's about 10 more than he usually gets. I'm going to take you off screen for just a second while we go over the belt leaderboard. Carlos Rodon now with 7 belts on the season. He's in 4th place. Juan Soto is your leader in the clubhouse with 11, followed by Luis Gil and Aaron Judge, tied with 8. Oswaldo Cabrera with 4. So, Waldo having a good year. And you see the rest of the list. I don't think Anthony Rizzo is getting anytime soon. But, TK, any final thoughts on tonight's game?
Big win. They needed it. They won a series in Fenway. I mean, geez, it feels like they've won like 3 series in the last 2 months. But that was a big win. Baltimore also won, which sucks. So they're still, a game and a half back. But that's something that we got to be really grateful for, because Baltimore could have put us to sleep in the last 6 weeks or so, and they really didn't, because they've struggled too. And we're only a game and a half back. Only 1 game back. Yeah.
1 game back. Yeah, we are 62-45. Orioles 62-43. So 1 game, 2 in the loss column. Red Sox 6.5 back now, so they drop a game. Rays starting to unload players. They traded Isaac Paredes to the Cubs. Did you see that?
I did see that. They gave up quite a bit, actually. Dude, did you see what the Padres sent to San Diego? They sent to Tampa for that reliever.
No,
what that trade was. The
AJ Puck deal.
No.
That was the
Jason Adams or whatever.
He got traded.
They gave up more for him than we gave up for Chisholm.
Wow.
They gave up Dylan Lesko for him.
Ooh, I didn't even know that trade went down. Yeah, I've been watching the game. I hadn't been following the news, so yeah, that's crazy. Adam was one of those guys who was kind of on my short list. Like if they deal him, but
Tampa.
you know the thing with Tampa, they won't deal with the Yankees unless they're absolutely fleecing us. And
I don't want to trade with them ever.
And-
That's why the Paredes deal, I was like, no.
but here's another thing, another thought. If guys are getting traded now, they can still get moved again before the deadline, right?
Yeah.
I don't think in this situation he's gonna get moved. But, if there's a match with another team, it might be one of those things where Cashman's like, hey, if you go out and get Isaiah Kiner-Falefa for us, Minnesota, we can trade, Gary Sanchez and Gio Urshela to you, and and you give us Josh Donaldson. I mean, that's a stupid move, but it was one of those things where the guy got traded twice in about 3 days. So could happen.
Yeah, but every time we're talking about even the Fairbanks deal that may be going down, like I'm always very, very skeptical about trading with Tampa. They're just really, really smart front office. They win trades all the time. Like they traded away Blake Snell, and everyone was like, "What the hell are they doing?" Turned out to be the right move for them. They just do it in a really good way. So anytime the Paredes of the world, Fairbanks, like we're talking about trading with Tampa, I really don't like trading with them, especially because they're so smart in the front office. But they're in our division, so I really just don't like to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to the wrap up here. Hang on just a second. Let me pull it up.
You see their new stadium plans, by the way?
Oh, it looks great. It looks sick,
it looks
bro.
Great. The only problem with it is that it's in St. Pete. What are you doing? Put it in
So
Tampa.
what they're doing is they're building a city around it. Basically, they're building like 65 acres of kind of like the Braves did, where you build up the area around. You put in apartments. You put in some stuff for people to work. You basically create like a little ecosystem that revolves around the Rays. You build super fans. You build people who are, restaurant owners and stuff nearby. I mean, it looks like a really great stadium. I'm going to definitely go.
I mean, I've seen the renderings. It looks really cool. I've been to Atlanta, by the way. The whole Battery thing is super, super sick. But I do think it's a mistake not putting it in Tampa because there are a lot more fans in the Tampa Bay area that just don't go to the games because the drive is a pain. And if you look up the Ybor City, Tampa, downtown Tampa Rays, like renderings, that's what they should have gone with. But they couldn't get the deal up, and the St. Petersburg mayor didn't want them to leave. It was a whole mess. I mean, but just get the hell out of the Trop, honestly, because I don't want to have to DH Judge every time because they play on turf. So, I mean, and the roof is white, so you can't see a fly ball. It's just weird. That whole place is weird.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, over 1,000 in the chat. Be sure to like and subscribe. Yankees are now cruising 2 in a row. So if you win tomorrow, that is officially a win streak. And we got Giancarlo Stanton coming back. So looking like things are headed in the right direction offensively. Anyway, TK, as always, thank you. Great job. Great hair. Great hoodie. And great background, by the way. I mean, you really dressed it up for us tonight in your new apartment there. Can we get a poster?
That's coming.
You know what we need? We need the Don Mattingly Hitman poster behind you. That's what we need.
We got we'll have it up. We'll have it up.
Nice.
We'll have it up.
Nice. There we go, ladies. For the people who are listening, he's showing off a very nice like Yankees banner flag type of thing. Looks pretty dope. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow 10 a.m. with Aiden for the StatCast show. We're going to talk Wells. We're going to talk Garrett Cole. Going to talk Jazz Chisholm. Going to take some voicemail, so call in 718-899-1068, and we will see you next time.
Boom!